What's up, guys? Last time we went over custom menu items, custom list views, and their adapters, and this time we will go from one activity to the next and provide a new layout using intents, and then we'll pass data from one screen to the other screen. So let's get started. So the first thing we need to do is register a new activity. First thing that I'm going to do is create a couple packages in here, or just resource folders, because I like to separate the, whoops, not that. We'll do new package. And so I like to separate the models from, the adapters and then the activities. So we'll call this one activities, and we'll throw main activity in there, and then the next one that we're going to make, so we'll call it maybe second activity. But I also like to do new package and do like models. And so an adapter is a model, but since we're going to make multiple of them, it'll also get its own. But a custom item is also a model, so I'll put both of those in there. So first thing we need to do is a new activity. So new Java class, and we'll call it, it doesn't matter, let's call it second activity. You know what? Since it's going to be that first menu item, which is working with widgets, let's call it that. So we'll call it working with widgets activity. And so when you make class names and variable names make sense, then you can see what you need to fix later on, or what you need to update later on without actually going through code, or at least going through less code. When you see something like main activity, you don't really know what that means. That should be something like landing page or main menu activity, but for now that'll be fine. But moving forward, we're going to name classes with names that make sense. So same as in main activity, we need to, I just closed others to keep it clean, so we need to extend app compat activity, and then this is going to have a couple methods that will override. The first one, so generate override methods. First one is this onCreate. We need this. And so onCreate is called every time an activity is created, and that's when you jump over to the screen. When the screen's destroyed, onCreate will be called again. If it's never destroyed, like if you put it in the background, like by pressing the home button, and then you open the app back up, onCreate does not get called again. That's important to know for later, but for right now, we're going to do most of the setup in onCreate. So now that we have this activity created, we need to set a content view, just like in main activity. If we go up here, our first line, other than calling the super classes onCreate, is set content view. So we need that before we can grab references to any of the view widgets, the view objects. So we need to create one. So if you go down here to layout and you right click, go to new layout resource file, and we'll call this working with widgets. Well, so we'll stick with the naming convention. So activity working with widgets. So I am more of a fan of relative layout, so I'll change this and say OK. And so that'll give us this. For now, all we'll do is a text view. I think I'll center it vertical and horizontal. I'm going to change the ID because we're going to reference it in code. So I'll call it TV. I guess it doesn't, we'll just leave it as text view because I'm just going to press escape. I'll leave it as text view because we're going to delete it to actually put a layout on here. The reason why I want to put this text view here now is because when we go from main activity to working with widgets, we're going to use an intent, and we're going to pass data, and we're going to display that. The data might be a string, and then we'll display the string in there. So we have this layout. We can look at the code and see we just have a text view in here. So in working with widgets, under the super, we're going to call set content view. And then it'll be our new layout. So r.layout.activity working with widgets. So now we can grab a reference whoops, to that text view. And so that text view was, we'll just call it text view, doesn't matter, equals, you have to cast it. So because find view by ID returns just a view, and so we'll cast it to text view. So find view by ID, and this is going to be in that activity working with widgets layout. So r.id. And then it's just whatever we named it, which we left it as text view. So that's what we'll use. So r.id.textView. Now that we have a reference to this, right now when we run it, all we'll see is this screen when we pop over there. And that's what we're going to do just to make sure it works. My emulator isn't working, so I set up a little screen share thing, and hopefully this works for us. So instead of toast make text, we'll comment that out because what we're going to do is a switch statement. And so with a switch statement, the argument is going to be some integer value. So position, if you remember, is an int, so we can do that. And what this does is says, okay, come into this switch statement, compare or test whatever the input is, which is position, and then we'll compare it against a couple cases. So case 0, which is our working with widgets. Then you have to break. You don't have to, but if you didn't, it would go right on to case 1. And right now this is just our placeholder. And then give it you can go all the way down, case 2, 3, 4, 5. And since we only have two items, it'll never go beyond 1 because indexes in arrays and pretty much anything in programming starts with 0 as the first index. So this is index 0, this is index 1, and so when it comes into this on item click listener, it's going to check the position, which when we click on working with widgets, it's going to the value will be 0, and so it'll land right on this first case. It'll do whatever is in here, and then it'll break. If it's not case 0, it'll move right to case 1, which in this case would be placeholder. So in that case, why don't we go ahead and put this, I cut, so Control X, cut it, and I'm going to put it right in here. And so we can say, since we're not going to a view yet, we'll just do this make text, this toast. And so it'll say item clicked. But in case 0, which is our working with widgets, we actually want to move over to that new activity. So we need to get, make an intent. So it's, I'm probably saying it a little weird, but it's intent. So intent, and then you can just write in intent or call it whatever you'd like, equals new intent, because that's how you substantiate or instantiate a new class, or a new object, I'm sorry. And so it could either be blank, and then you could set what it is and where it's going later, or you can do that right now. So that's what we're going to do. So you have to go where it's from, and then where it's going. So where it's from is right here. So main activity dot this, and so that's this context. And then where's it going? It's going to working with widgets activity dot class. So working with widgets activity dot class. And so now we have an intent object. And this intent says, I want to go from where we are, and I want to go here, which is working with widgets. So now if we say start activity, we can just give it the intent that we just created, and now it does that. So we can run this. And looks like it's very laggy on the screen share, but it's going pretty smoothly on my phone. It should go pretty smoothly on your phone as well. But I hope you could see this. So when I press this placeholder, this is going to come into this switch statement, and it's going to land on case 1 because placeholder is our second item. So when we click it, it should just display this toast. It did on my phone. I don't know if it's going to show on here. Oh, there it goes. So it does that. Sorry about this lag. Okay, but when we press working with widgets, it's going to crash because we have to register this new activity in the manifest. So if you'd like, you can press it. It'll crash. I'm not going to. I'm going to come back to our project, and up here you have a manifest folder. You can click on Android manifest, and you have these activities. And so this first one is starting the activity declaration, and the second one closes it. So right under that, we'll make a new activity. And then Android name, we're going to click on this working with widgets. And then you can just press the slash and it should close for you, because that's all we need to do is just declare that we have this activity. And now we can run it again. So when I press run, it should try to rebuild. Right? There it goes. Okay. And then now when it pulls up, it'll be the same thing. We can click placeholder and we'll get that toast. And I worked on my phone again. I don't know if it's going to show on here. Looks like it's not. But it did work on my phone. But now when we click working with widgets, we'll go to that second screen. And there it goes. It's showing our second view. And it's showing that default text view that we made. So what we're going to do is we're going to pass data from one activity to the next activity. And so we can do that right in here. Before we start activity with our intent, we can make a bundle. So we'll call it a bundle and we'll say extras equals new bundle, and that instantiates a new object, for our bundle. And then we can put extras in there. So put string, for example. And we'll just call this our data. You can call it whatever you'd like, but the key is case sensitive. So however you want to work it, I'm going to call it our data. And the value I'm going to put in there is, doesn't matter, hello world, doesn't matter. Or let's just say working with widgets. And I'm going to change our data to title, because then we can actually set the screen title that way if we want. So anyway, put extras. So then in our intent is when we say intent.putExtras, and it takes a bundle, which is this bundle we just made, and we'll call it, and so we'll put that in there as the parameter. So intent put extras, and then extras, which is our bundle. The bundle has a string, which is a key value pair, and so the key is title. The value is working with widgets. And then we start activity with that intent. So now when we come over here, we can capture that bundle. So this activity will always get created using an intent. So we know there's going to be an intent. So we can say intent equals get intent. And so what that does is we know as a developer that this activity is always going to start with an intent. So all we're doing here is capturing that intent. And now we can grab the bundle. So bundle, extras equals intent.get extras, and we see over here that it returns a bundle. So now we have that bundle. We know as a developer that it has a key, it has a string with a key of title. So we can say string title equals extras.getString, and we know the key is title. And so now we have this data. So on this text view, here, let's do some commenting here. So grab a reference to the intent used to show this activity. So that's what we did here. And then we grab a reference to the bundle attached to the intent, and then we pull the string title from the bundle. And so now what we're going to do is set the text of the text view to the title variable, variable's content. And so right here we'll say this little text view we created, dot set text, and it'll just be title. And so now if we run it again, so the way it is now, we see medium text. And if we press the back arrow, it's going to take a long time, but when we press the back arrow, we go back to the other view. And so here it comes. Okay, and then if we click working with widgets again, it'll go back to that medium text. But instead, we're going to run it again. And now it's going to send that data from main activity, which we put in the title, we put working with widgets. So it's going to take that and it's going to send it over to working with widgets, and we're going to set that as this text view. And so title is the key, it's not the actual text. So the key is title, the text is working with widgets, and so what we should see on this screen right here is not medium text. We should see working with widgets. So if we come over here, we'll eventually see the app pop up. Okay, and so now if we click working with widgets, it'll bring us to our new screen. I think from moving on, I'll do screen recordings and put them in when I edit the video, because the lag on here is just so terrible. And then our new activity that we just created pops up. And so as you see over here again, the text view says medium text, and it stays that way until we change it using the extras that we attach to intent, pass it over to the new activity, grab that intent, grab a reference to the bundle that we attached to the intent, pull the string that we set, which we gave it a key of title, and then we set that to the text view, which shows us our title. That'll wrap it up for this one. Sorry for all the lag on here. I'm going to try to clean that up, and then, like I said, I'll probably go to some pre-recorded videos, like some screen recordings on my phone moving forward. So that'll wrap this one up. Next time, we're going to change this screen here, and it's going to have different views and widgets like buttons and text fields and edit texts and all those, and we'll go from there. So thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.